everyone. First of all, thank you for allowing me to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. Allow me to introduce myself before we get started. My name is Airen Wang and people usually call me Airen. I'm currently in my third year of medical school at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences at Jaya Catholic University of Indonesia. In this opportunity, I will talk about one of the goals of the SDGs in more detail. Before we delve deeper into the main issue, let's better understand the SDGs. Back in 2015, all United Nations countries agreed on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which outlines 17 goals described as a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. And today, I want to talk about a subject very close to my heart, and that is gender equality. As a woman and a proud graduate of an all girls high school, I sincerely believe that true equality for women in Indonesia is far from realized. Globally, gender equality is SDG number 5, aimed at ending discrimination and ensuring equal rights for women. But here in Indonesia, while progress is visible on the surface, the deeper reality reveals persistent inequality. According to the latest data from Indonesia's Central Bureau of Statistics, the gender inequality index for our country was 0.421 in 2024, a decline that shows improvement but still reflects significant gaps between men and women. For example, female participation in the workforce sits around 56%, much lower than men's 84%. And women often face occupational segregation that limits their access to higher paying roles and leadership positions. Among these disparities, one of the most insidious is sexual harassment, which profoundly affects women's safety and freedom. Men can also experience harassment, but studies show that in Indonesia, women are affected at much higher rates. According to a 2024 report by the National Commission on Violence Against Women, over 20,000 cases of sexual violence were reported involving women victims, with many more unreported due to fear or stigma. Women often stay silent because perpetrators hold positions of power or authority, creating an environment where harassment goes unchecked and victims feel powerless to speak out. Beyond violence, Indonesia's beauty standards aren't just about looks. They create a constant form of inequality. Society positions an ideal where women must have fair skin, be slender, and possess certain facial features. This puts enormous pressure on women to conform. If a woman doesn't meet these narrow ideals, they will be judged severely. Furthermore, one major challenge is that women remain underrepresented in leadership and decision-making positions in Indonesia. According to Indonesia's Central Bureau of Statistics in 2023, only about 35% of major positions were held by women. In the 2024 Merah Putih Cabinet, just 9% of ministers were women, with only 5 ministers out of 53. Women's representation in the national parliament was around 22% in 2024, showing progress but still far from parity. When women do hold these positions, they often face skepticism because leadership continues to be seen as a male domain. This creates additional barriers that hinder women's participation in decision-making, limiting the advancements of gender equality. My experiences in an all-girls school showed me the power and potential of women when supported. However, outside these supportive environments, many women still struggle with expectations that confine them to traditional roles or undervalue their contributions. As members of society, we can support gender equality by encouraging women to take on leadership roles, speaking up against harassment and violence, and challenging harmful stereotypes in our daily life. Simple actions like educating ourselves and others, supporting women's-led initiatives, and creating safe, inclusive spaces can help bring real change. True gender equality requires more than symbolic gestures. It demands structural changes to dismantle harmful norms, enforce protection for victims, create safe environments, and empower women as equal partners in leadership and society. Indonesia has committed to these goals through programs and legal frameworks, but the time calls for bolder action. Now it's time to reform, to listen to women's voices, and to remove the barriers that hold us back. Gender equality is not a privilege for women. It is a fundamental human right and essential for a just, flourishing society. I'm Airen Wang from the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, and I thank you for your attention.